Financially. The budget adjustment allocations per department are amended as follows. Vote 1, the Office of the Premier has been adjusted downward by 5.5464 million from 465.654 million to 460.090 million. Vote 2, Legislature. The institution in 2023 adjusted allocation was not affected and will remain the same at 536.212 million. Vote 3, the Department of Education's allocation has been adjusted upward by 100 million as funded from the savings of 93.038 million within other departments and 6.963 million from provincial revenue services. The department's budget is amended from 39.037 billion to 39.137 billion, mainly to fund the spending pressures on infrastructure projects. Vote 4, the Department of Agriculture's conditional grant allocation has been increased by 6.768 million as approved by National Treasury, and the equitable share allocation has been reduced by 31.450 million as net reduction of 24.682 million from 1.806 billion to 1.781 billion. Vote 5, Treasury. The department's allocation has been adjusted downward by 3.948 million from 4.14806 million to 410.858 million. Vote 6, the Economic Development, Environment and Tourism. The department's allocation has been adjusted downward by 8.3 million from 1.710 billion to 1.702 billion. The 8.3 million is made up for reduction in the allocation of Limpopo Tourism Agency of 1.4 million and 6.9 million in Lidet. Vote 7, the Department of Health's conditional grant allocation has been increased by 20.712 million as approved by National Treasury, and the equitable share has been reduced by 14.840 million, a net increase of 5.872 million from 24.602 billion to 24.608 billion. Vote 8, the Department of Transport and Community Safety's 2023-24 adjusted allocation was not affected and will remain the same at 2.513 billion. Vote 9, Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure allocation increases from 5.081 to 5.098, an increase of 16.8 million funded from provincial revenue in order to fund budget pressures in Road Agency Limpopo. The department has reprioritized identified savings of 166,974 million to increase transfer payments to RAL. Vote 10, Sports, Arts and Culture. Its allocation had been adjusted downward by 3.151 million from 644.7 million to 641.549 million. Vote 11, the Department of COGSTA, Cooperative Governance, Human Settlement and Traditional Affairs, has been increased its allocation by the additional conditional grant allocation from National Treasury of 250 million and equitable share reduced by 25.785 million, and a net increase of 224.215 million from 2.797 billion to 3.021 billion. Vote 12, the Department of Social Development 23-24 adjusted allocation was not affected and will remain in the same as 2.036 billion. All Speaker, having received the above amendments, the Provincial Treasury in terms of Section 31 of the Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 1999 as amended, herewith tables the 2023-24 Limpopo Adjustment Appropriation Amendment Bill number 1 of 2024 to effect this adjustment and increase the provincial budget by 301,245 million from 81.643 billion to 81.9 billion. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Also, the bill is referred to the Portfolio Committee on Provincial Treasury for consideration and to report back to the House. Let's proceed to item 7.2, first reading of the Limpopo Appropriation Bill 2024 B02/2024 by the MEC Provincial Treasury. MEC Squati, you may proceed.
Thank you. Speaker of our Provincial Legislature, Honorable Rosemary Molapo, the Deputy Speaker of the Legislature, Honorable Chitereke Matibe, Honorable Premier of our province, Ntate Chupu Matavata, Ahlajahlavirwa, Honorable members of the Executive Council, members of the Provincial Legislature, leaders of various opposition parties present, the Chairperson of House of Traditional Leaders, Hosin Gobe, the Deputy Lemagoshika Mokalongona, former members of the Provincial Legislature present, the Director General of the province and all heads of departments and other senior managers, members of the boards, chairpersons of the boards, members, and the chief executive officers of our various entities, executive mayors and all councillors present, leadership of the ruling party, the African National Congress, as represented by Musanda Abumadaje, the provincial chairperson of the ANC Youth League, as represented by Tonira Chweni, leaders of representatives of our Chapter 9 and Chapter 10 institutions present, leaders of organized labor, faith-based. I also learned that our two big churches, ZCC and St. Engenas, are also present this morning. Civil society organizations present, captains and leaders of various industries, all leaders of our youth, women and people living with disabilities, distinguished guests, the people of Limpopo, good morning. Tobela, Macheloni, Masea. Oh, Intika. I thought I moved on. Honourable Speaker, in the symphony of democracy, we stand here today as custodians of a vision crafted over 3 decades of resilience, progress, and unity. The melody of our province journey echoes through the corridors of time, shaped by the diversity of the people of this province and the rhythmic beats of democracy. President Cyril Ramaphosa, in his State of the Nation address, reminded us, and I quote, "We are not passive observers of our history, we are its authors. We are the builders of this country we call home. As we look towards the next 30 years of freedom, we must choose the kind of country and indeed the kind of world we want to create for ourselves and for our children," close quote. And you would even go further and say, you like it or you don't like it. So we have to be part of that history. As we unveil the budget for Limpopo, let's keep in mind that this is not merely a fiscal exercise, but a moment to sculpt the very contours of the shared destiny. It is a pivotal juncture where fiscal allocations transcend numerical values, transforming into instruments that shape the lives of every citizen, paving the way for a future that reflects the aspirations of a resilient and united province. Ladies and gentlemen, South Africans continue to be affected by the global economic performance, where the world's economies are recovering from the ongoing wars in critical economic regions. The world trade growth is projected at 3.3% in 2024 and 3.6% in 2025, below this historical average growth rate at 4.9%. Rising trade distortions and economic fragmentation are expected to continue to weigh on the level of global trade. In this regard, our country, as Africa's most industrialized economy, will likely grow a meager 1% in 2024, significantly slower than the IMF's forecast in October, when it saw South Africa's gross domestic product expanding by 1.8%. Despite these predicaments, it is worth noting that South Africa, notwithstanding its many operational challenges, is becoming a more attractive location for private business compared to some countries in the emerging market regions. Colleagues, I can't hear myself. I'm sorry for that. This improvement reflects positively on South Africa's economic reconstruction and recovery plan, which, as part of structural reforms aimed at helping the economy recover from COVID-19, pledged in 2020 to make it easier for private business to operate in the country, including the regulatory reforms and incentives implemented that allow businesses to invest in renewable energy installation. In the main, the major sector contributors to our provincial economy are the mining sector at 28.1%, followed by community service at 25.1%, finance at 17.3%, and trade at 13.9%. Construction sector remains the lowest at 1.9%, and this sector has been failing to bounce back from the effects of COVID-19. The manufacturing sector at 2.6% contribution is continuously very low, and if thoroughly explored, fundamentally, it has a potential of increasing the province GDP growth. It is also imperative that the provincial government continue to develop value addition strategies across these sectors with greater growth potential. Such strategies and policies should complement the developed sector master plans, such as agriculture and agro-processing master plan and tourism master plans, amongst others. On premium, in the past years and over the 2024 MTEF period, the provincial resources have been negatively impacted by fiscal consolidation implemented by the National Treasury as part of fiscal strategy aimed at stabilizing the economy and reducing public debt. This has since limited resources available for allocation to provinces through equitable share and reduced the budget available in the province to allocate for provincial priorities, projects and programs that will contribute towards job creation, development and socio-economic growth in the province. Therefore, over the 2024 MTEF period, Provincial Treasury will implement various strategies to mitigate the impact of fiscal consolidation on service delivery. These include collaboration between the Provincial Treasury and the provincial institutions in an effort to assist the latter to leverage on budget reforms such as spending reviews, zero-based budgeting, and budget facility for infrastructure known as BFI. On Speaker, the financial outlook of the provincial administration has significantly improved, as in 2011-12, the province had 19 disclaimer audit opinions, which to date all have been eliminated. It's also notable that we received a number of clean audits over the last couple of years. However, they are not yet sustainable, and we need to do more to ensure that we can retain that. Therefore, through enhancing financial governance, strengthening of audit remedial action and oversight, we endeavor to improve the sustainability of clean audits and elimination of remaining unqualified audits in the foreseeable future. In terms of our work in municipal support and governance, Provincial Treasury continues to collaborate with MPEC committees to strengthen the governance and oversight. We have also established the municipal and members of Executive Council forums, which MEC for Treasury and MEC for COGTA meet with all mayors and municipal managers to assess financial and governance progress. We are thus happy to announce that all municipalities in the province are effectively implementing M-Score currently, and we are working on strengthening municipal assets management module on the M-Score. Honourable Speaker, given the current economic challenges and fiscal constraints facing the province, since 2019-2020 budget cycle, the provincial government has invested resources to enhance the planning, delivery and governance of infrastructure to improve the delivery mechanism, the expenditure of infrastructure budgets to promote value for money and efficacy of our investments. Therefore, our resolve is to continue addressing challenging factors hampering infrastructure implementation by supporting and strengthening capacity at the Limpopo Department of Public Works, Roads and Infrastructure to perform its role as the custodian of immovable assets and the implementing agent of infrastructure through alternative funding models remains resolute. Honourable Speaker, in preparation and finalizing the 2024-25 MTEF, all departmental infrastructure plans were used to inform the final allocation over the 2024 MTEF period, and a total budget of 21.691 billion has been allocated for the delivery of infrastructure within the province. This allocation will fund infrastructure projects of various categories in line with the overall strategic objectives of the province, and the project details are captured in the project list of each department. Honourable Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, the provincial infrastructure budget for 24-25 financial year will be 7.851 billion, representing an increase of 6.1% compared to the 23-24 financial year. The 7.851 billion is allocated to various departments as follows. The Department of Education to receive 1.623 billion through the Education Infrastructure Grant, which include maintenance of early childhood development centers and priority projects for storm damaged schools. Department of Agriculture and Rural Development to receive 206.260 million. Department of Economic Development, Environment and Tourism to receive 25 million for refurbishment of state resorts as part of the provincial priorities. Department of Health to receive